Now we are jumping into our feature panel discussion, How to Navigate the Money Maze, Financing Your Business Forward, proudly brought to you by the Scotiabank Women Initiative, Export Development Canada, and MNP. We have heard from our Strike Up audience that funding for your business is always top of mind, so we have assembled a powerhouse panel of leaders who have built or expanded their enterprises utilizing strategic capital resources. You'll hear how and why they made the decisions through their journeys to access funding to boost their growth and expand their ventures. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Robin Kovitz from Baskets Inc., and her panelists for today's feature event. Robin is the president, CEO, and owner of Baskets Inc., North America's premier gifting service company. Baskets designs, manufactures, and delivers unique and luxurious gifts from across Canada and the US. Prior to acquiring Baskets in 2014, Robin worked in private equity and began her career in mergers and acquisitions investment banking at CIBC World Markets. She holds an MBA from the Harvard Business School and a Bachelor of Commerce from Queen's University. Joining Robin in this panel discussion are entrepreneurs Claudette McGowan, Chief Executive Officer at Protexa, and Kulbinder Saran Caldwell, the founder and CEO of Real Life Pictures Inc. Now over to you, Robin.
Thank you, Victoria. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Strike Up 2024 panel, How to Navigate the Money Maze. I'm sure many of you are thinking about how to finance your business forward. Again, my name is Robin Kovitz, and I am absolutely thrilled to be the moderator of this conversation with two incredible entrepreneurs who will share their funding journeys to help you navigate the daunting maze of raising capital for entrepreneurs. Every business, regardless of the stage, whether you're on the verge of expansion, already deeply in expansion, requires access to financial resources. It's a key input to any business. The available avenues depend based on your specific requirements, the scale of your business, the sector you operate in, and your current position in the growth and scaling trajectory. Today, we have the great privilege of listening to the experiences of two remarkable entrepreneurs who have elevated their businesses to new heights through strategic funding. They will generously impart insights into their successful strategies and the pivotal decisions that guided them in their financing journeys. I'd like to invite everyone in the audience to share in the chat in one sentence your funding strategy for your business, and then we can see what themes emerge. While you do that, please join me in welcoming to the Strike Up stage our panelists, Kulbinder Saran Caldwell, founder and CEO of Real Life Pictures Inc., and Claudette McGowan, my friend, CEO of Protexa. Welcome, everyone. Let's start by having each of our panelists introduce themselves and the perspectives they will bring to today's conversation. Kulbinder, let's start with you. Please tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Robin. I am the CEO and founder of Real Life Pictures Inc., which is a fully integrated production company, as well as a literary agency representing diverse, neurodiverse, and LGBTQ writers and directors. I am an invisibly disabled woman of color entrepreneur. And I'm certified in a number of organizations, WB, IWSCC, as well as CAMSC. That's it.
Thanks so much, Kulbinder. Can't wait to hear more. Claudette, welcome. Can you please share a bit about yourself and your business?
Absolutely. So Claudette McGowan, CEO of Protexa, a cybersecurity services and platform company. The thing that I think will resonate the most is to let you know that right now there's 8 billion people on Earth. 5 billion people are using the internet, and more than 50% of us have been compromised, breached, or hacked. And so the mission at Protexa is really to help every human being be safe in the digital world. And so what we do is we give you visibility to your own cyber health and hygiene. Just like you get a credit score, you now get a cyber hygiene score. And we also give you the ability not just to find the problems, which could be quite daunting to know how bad it is, but to fix the problems. So that's what we do. I spent 20 years in banking. We had all the resources to help, millions and millions of customers. But what about everyday people? What about small, medium enterprises? So my mission is to make sure that we help every human be safe in that digital world.
Thanks so much, Claudette. Wow, I have to say I've been a good friend and fan of yours for many years, and I think bringing us back to this panel, one of the reasons why does this matter, financing, especially for female entrepreneurs? One of the the key themes that I've had the pleasure of witnessing throughout your career, Claudette, is how you're constantly giving back to your community. And it's just something I admire so much, whether it's the work that you do for Black professionals through CELAR, or the incredible work that you do for women in tech through the Firehood, now to try to save the world from being hacked. I think why this matters, getting more women access to capital, is because it's been proven, and Claudette is a great example, that female entrepreneurs tend to give back to their community more than other entrepreneurs. And so I'm so excited today, welcome everyone, to try and provide a comprehensive overview of the financial resources that are available to women entrepreneurs in Canada, and hopefully to inspire you guys to raise capital for your businesses. So just to take a step back and level set, because I know there's a range of background in this audience, there are many different ways to finance a business. Most commonly, the sources that we hear about are bootstrapping, or just growing your business through sales, sourcing funds from friends and family, crowdfunding, accessing grants, securing debt through loans, and raising equity financing through angels and venture capitalists. The most suitable funding option will depend on your business's unique circumstances and your comfort with factors like equity ownership, repayment terms, and the level of control of your business that you wish to retain. It's often beneficial to explore a combination of these financing options to meet your funding needs. Kulbinder, I was hoping you could tell us about the different financing options you've considered and ultimately chose when infusing capital into real life pictures.
So in my industry of film and television, there's a lot of grants and funding that is received that way. So that was really the primary way that I needed to fund my organization. And as you all know, there's lots of funding grants out there, and a lot of them are $10,000 and lower. But that's a lot of competition for, even $2,000, let alone $10,000. So we were fortunate enough to have a grant writer on staff, which allowed me to sort of access all of the different types of grants that I was eligible for. But also, besides that, in my industry, when you are applying for funding for particular projects, they take a look at what kind of producer that you are, and really some demographics. So one of the reasons why I disclose that I'm an invisibly disabled woman of color entrepreneur is because there are specific grants out there that are set aside for these types of entrepreneurs. And one of the things that I wanted to do was get certified so that when I went for these grants, that I might have a competitive edge over other organizations. So those are, and of course I want to go after the loans, from my bank and BDC and everything. But unfortunately, a lot of those come with eligibility requirements, like revenue targets that you have to have in order for you to be able to get that funding, and or number of employees. How many people do you have on payroll in order for you to be able to overcome some of those eligibility requirements in order for you to actually even put in an application. So all of that to say, there's a lot of funding opportunities out there, but it's a lot of work to sort through all of that, to figure out, what type of time requirement it takes and what the return on that investment of time is going to be. So those are some of the things that I was able to tap into.
Fantastic. And you mentioned a few, but could you tell us a bit more about any challenges that you faced when you were seeking grant and other financing, bootstrapping?
The relationships that we have with our banks, with our, funding organizations, you need to really understand what you're looking for, and they have to be your advocate as well. So I applied to the BDC a couple of times before I was able to access funding. And now I've been able to get a number of loans from that organization, but it was only because I built that relationship with my representative. He knew what my business was inside and out, and therefore he was able to make a business case to move it through the organization in order for me to get approval. So it's really, really important for you to access the resources that you have around you and build those strong relationships, because it's not just for today that you're looking for capital, but as you grow, you're going to be going back to those that supported you to be able to keep moving forward. And really, time. As an entrepreneur, you are doing the bookkeeping, you're doing the sales, you are doing the operations, you're doing business development, product development, all of those kind of hats that you're wearing. And funding is vital for you to be able to keep doing your job and moving your company forward. But that takes a lot of time and effort as well. So those are really some of the challenges that I've had to face.
Wow, such an inspiration. Thank you. On funding strategy, typically funding strategy is like a blueprint that outlines the financial requirements for your business for a particular length of time. It describes how you're going to raise money, the resources that you need to carry out your business goals. And so some questions for the audience that you can ask yourselves in order to find the right strategy includes, what does success look like for me? Do I need funding? Why do I need funding? Is my business ready to take on funding? Do I understand the legal requirements? This is a big one of taking on funding. Am I prepared to make the changes to the business? Often with funding comes change. And is this partner, institution, or investor a good fit for my business? Great questions to ask yourself as you're building your business. Claudette, we're hoping to move to you now. How important was a well-defined business plan and financial strategy in securing financing for Protexa? And what components do you believe were critical to your success?
Yeah, I mean, imagine not having a plan and saying to somebody, hey, bet on me. So absolutely, you need to have that financial strategy, that plan, the business plan to say, here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm doing it, here's when I intend to do it, here's the results. So, if you don't do the homework or you don't do the legwork, why would anybody put their time and energy into you? So I think anyone who thinks they're going to phone it in, this is not the right avenue for you. There's this whole adage on when you're raising funds, go after the triple F's, friends, family, and fools. I've reframed the last one to be friends, family, and fearless people, because what I found is that there were people who believed in me, even when I was at the early stage and not exactly sure where everything was going to go, but they trusted my track record. They loved the industry, they saw the opportunity, and they went for it. So again, getting data to share, not just, hey, this is a great person, bet on her, but this is a great person with a plan, with a track record who can get it done. And of course, you're going to have those difficult days, but knowing that you've got that playbook to run the plays from is really essential.
Fabulous advice there. Claudette, among your many accomplishments, you've founded the Firehood, a movement focused on increasing the participation, leadership, and prosperity of women in tech. Can you tell us a little bit about the initiatives of the Firehood and how you aim to support women in tech, helping them to level their ventures and make connections, leading to capital investments for opportunities for them?
Absolutely. So when I started my career some 20 plus years ago, I found myself the youngest in the room, the only person of color, absolutely the only Black person in the room. And then, of course, in many cases, the only female in the room. So I don't want to be the lonely only. And I think it's really important that as we see doors open or, we break through certain, shields, how do we bring more people along? So I felt it was really important to create something with my partner, Danielle Graham, that gave women access and opportunity. And what was so essential is that it was women investing in other women. So the Firehood has women who've decided to, pool some funds together. We're able to raise millions of dollars. And then we go to different events like Startup Fest in Montreal, like SaaS North in Ottawa, like Elevate in Toronto. And we have women pitch for funds and award anywhere from now $100,000 to $450,000 to get them going. So anyone knows about equity funding knows that women get less than 2% of the VC dollar. And if you're a woman of color, it's less than 1%. So imagine me telling you, Robin, I've got this less than 1% chance for you to be successful. Are you all in? Ready to leave your full-time 9 to 5 job? So we have to give women new opportunities, new railways, new pathways, and also have women who have benefited from this go and tell their story. So then again, they're going to continue to open the door. And you know that whole thing, hey, you got to the top floor in the elevator. Well, you don't just send the elevator back down. You get on that elevator, you go back down, you grab as many people as possible, and then you bring everybody up as well too. So I think those things are essential. This is why we created the Firehood, is that we're not going to wait for someone to give it to us. We can create these things on our own.
So inspiring. So for those of you in the audience, I hope you'll check out the Firehood, whether you're an investor or whether you're looking for capital, please check out the Firehood. It's such an incredible organization and we want to help it grow. Well done. Kopinder, moving back to you. How did you determine the right amount of capital required for your business? And how did you manage your financial projections? Did you receive any mentorship or support in this area?
For those of you that are not familiar with the name Corrales, it's formerly CEO. And I applied for some venture to become a venture, was the finalist 2 years in a row. And last year was lucky enough to get some opportunity to be in a cohort and everything like that. But it was really being in the first cohort sponsored by EDC that allowed me to really get that kind of finance and marketing kind of support, and information about being an exporter, can export. That was one of the ways that I've been able to, grow my business, is by applying to and getting funding to go to different markets. So always take a look at your business and see what other opportunities that are available for you to kind of look at where else you can sort of end up in the world. And it's very similar to Firehood. Is it Firehood?
Yes.
I think is fabulous. I mean, that's exactly what we need to do. Those stats are very, very daunting, less than 1%. Both of us are women of color, and, it's tough. It's really, really tough. So if you can't find support from, your fellow women entrepreneurs, we're going to find them, really. And those are a couple of the different types of organizations that I was able to tap into.
Fantastic. Kopinder, could you share sort of the impact of this financing and how it impacted the growth and development of your business?
Yes, absolutely. I was part of another program. As you can tell, I'm part of a lot of programs. Called NSI EAD on Demand. And it had producers from around the country. And we were really talking about, how can we sustain our business and grow our business? And one thing that we were really talking about was co-productions, and also, going outside of Canada in order to do productions and staffing and things like that. And I really changed my business and pivoted it. At the same time, I was being told about the different programs that EDC had, and the Can Export Fund being one of them. So it sort of kind of clicked. I applied for the funding, got Can Export, which meant that I could go around the world to Cairns, to London, to different places, and talk to them about my business. My business being getting staffing opportunities for my writers and directors, and also selling original IP to English-speaking territories. So it really fundamentally changed my strategy, but for the better, because now I had more of an opportunity to get bigger and bigger contracts outside of Canada. And last year I was able to do so.
Congratulations and thanks, Kulbinder. Those are some great tips. Claudette, and moving over to you and Protexa, were there any specific organizations or resources that played a significant role in helping you secure financing?
Yeah, and I love that Kulbinder spoke about, being a part of something. Like if you're sitting at home alone and think you're going to solve it by reading a book or going on YouTube, that might be part of the strategy, but you got to go out there. You got to build your network. They say your network sets your net worth. And, I think it's really important. So accelerators, Mars, the DMZ, incubators, creative destructive labs. There's so many different things that you should make sure that you are a part of them, because they bring people to the table. And then again, they've seen businesses like yours that perhaps, hey, these are 3 things that you absolutely need to do. These are 2 things you may want to stay away from. So getting these, executives and residents who can give you some guidance, proven entrepreneurs who've been down those paths before is really important. And then, of course, obviously, your investors. People invest in you, they make that bet on you because they believe in you, they believe in the product, they believe in the market. So who do they know? Who could they bring? And can your investor also be a customer? One of the big things that we did is we led with sales. So I wanted to build a software company, but I also have all this deep expertise in cybersecurity and digital transformation. So we were out there, growing the business through sales. And so who can we offer consulting to? Who can we offer training to? These are things that, it's not the core of the business, but it certainly keeps you alive during those, winter months. So I think, tapping into who's a part of your network, where you can meet more individuals, where you can, go beyond the 4 walls of your country. I think that's massive. EDC is one of our largest investors, and what they bring to the table has been absolutely exceptional. And of course, companies like BKR, investors like BKR, the only Black VC in Canada. And then, of course, Deloitte has been so instrumental for us as well, too. So again, just don't think of the relationship about what they can invest from a money perspective, from a resource and a network perspective is very key.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Claudette. I'm curious, I think for many people in the audience, how did you use that capital? Where did you invest? So you raised money to grow your business, but then what did you do with that money?
Yeah, when you start these things, Kulbinder, you're a team of 1, right? And you're, like you said, the bookkeeper, you're the marketing, you're CMO, CFO, CEO. So first of all, it was in people, bringing on amazing talent who can help me to realize the vision of what we laid out. And then, of course, the platform. That's the scalable piece for a business that, build once, use many times. And so we built out our platform that we now have over 30 customers. And from a licensing perspective, has sold over 100,000 licenses for people to be on that platform. So Robin, you were there at the very beginning when we were just like, we're gonna launch a company. Well, now we have tens and tens of customers, and of course, now onboarding one of the largest retailers in the country on the platform is really massive for us as well too. So we put it in the product, we put it in the people, and of course the next stage is to just double down on the marketing. When you refine the message, you understand your target audience, how do you take that and go global with it? So that's where we put our investment.
Claudette, you're such an inspiration. Wow, yeah, I had the great privilege of hearing this idea when it was in its infancy, and now seeing your success, which and I see even further huge success for you going forward. I'm so excited to be able to watch it. I'm curious, and I think a lot of people listening are curious. What stage did you decide to seek financing? So, like you said, it was kind of just you, but when do you know it's right to raise more money?
Yeah, I built the MVP. So something that people could like, it's one thing to, write it on a napkin. It's another thing to have this, I'll say almost like a Figma based view of, hey, here's how it's supposed to work. That got people excited. It's real. And it was my money that I put in it. The first person to put money in this company was me. And then after that, I went to the friends and the family and the fearless people, and then went to the VCs for that seed round. So we were able to raise in the early stage up to $5 million for that seed round. And now we're thinking about, being in Series A for 2024. So it's about milestones. People will invest when they see something, when they see others want it as well too. And so having these customers under our belt, having people who can be referenceable, who say, I want to put my hand up. The secret in cyber is that people don't want to advertise who's helping them. They don't want people to know that they may potentially have a cyber issue. So we were thrilled when a customer said, hey, if you ever need anything, we'll be the reference because this is helping us tremendously. So that was a feather in our cap to know that a customer wants to come forward and say, hey, we're getting cyber help and we're getting it from Protexa.
Wow, such an inspiration. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Hopefully I know you're an inspiration to many people out there. There's not a lot of women in Canada who've raised that amount, and I know you're going to continue on to raise more and protect us in this crazy cybersecurity environment. To close us off, Kulbinder and Claudette, I was hoping you could share any practical tips or resources that for our listeners to help them determine the right financing mix for their business. And before I push to you, Claudette, to answer that question, I was hoping as we close off the session that everyone could put in the chat their biggest takeaway. So Claudette, over to you. Any final tips or tricks?
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say is that who you spend the time with. We got the same 24 hours in the day. Who you spend the time with, how you spend the time, that will dictate your success. And you're only going to get out of it what you put into it. So there's a lot of people who want to be, Instagram entrepreneurs. And then there's people like Kulbinder and I who want to be real entrepreneurs, solve big problems and deliver results. So I think I go back to where I put my time, and it's not just something I'm telling people to do. It's also a check and balance for myself to say, hey, if my sales target this year is X million dollars, am I doing the things every single day, or do I just get concerned about it at the closing or close to the quarter end? So it's what you do every day, that consistency that's going to deliver the results, and have that plan, have that vision, have those milestones so that you can, again, measure. And that last thing I would say is the accountability partner. You're not going to do it on your own, whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor. Robin, you and I, we go to these quarterly sessions that Mars holds. There's so many places where you can, find your flock and really, build bridges together. So that's what I would say is, be accountable to yourself and have an accountability partner.
Fantastic. So we're at time here, but just to close out, I wanted to thank you both again for sharing your expertise. And thank you for joining those of you listening, the panel, How to Navigate the Money Maze, Financing Your Business Forward. And thank you to the Scotia Women's Initiative, Export Development Canada, and MMP for making this possible.